Hello there, Common Wolf Rom here. New very in-depth details are in the wild, and a written report from Business Korea even references 2024, so this year, as the possible release for Nintendo's next system. Business Korea, and in the case of Mobad, forced Puro, yes, the insider bird, out from the shadows. But let's begin with Business Korea, since this report from the oldest monthly business magazine in the homeland of Samsung from 1983 is writing the following. It is predicted that a wide range of Samsung products, from displays to memory and foundry services, will be used, making it almost a made-by-Samsung product. According to industry sources, on April 24, the Nintendo Switch 2 is expected to launch as early as the second half of the year. In fact, the parts industry has reportedly reached a considerable degree of agreement for initial production contracts. End quote. Part 1. Now, we have known for quite some time that Samsung is heavily involved in bringing the next Nintendo system to a desirable level, but an update on April 24 about a potential 2024 release is interesting, since it is the only source to contradict pretty much every report since Video Game Chronicle first brought up in the second half of February that the system is likely not coming out until March 2025 at the soonest. Information that has since been backed up by several developer sources, including the Japanese financial news giant Nikkei. Though, could it have reverted back to the original internal plan, that being late to holiday 2024? There might be a possibility, since shortly after the Business Korea article went up, Nintendo Switch accessory and controller manufacturer Mobad posted the following on Facebook. The original lengthy detailed post has since been edited, but we have a screenshot, and the same goes with their post on Bilibili, and both of these share far more details. In fact, Mobad's blunder is so big that it even got Puro to post for the first time in a month, and we know that he doesn't miss on his rare Nintendo-related tweets. And for a good reason, as it all comes down to the following 6 dice points. 1. The Bluetooth chip of Nintendo Switch 2 still supports existing Joy-Con and Pro controllers after development machine testing, and still features HD vibration/rumble. Mobad is emphasizing that their own Qi2 and M6S/HD controllers will remain fully compatible, in the process confirming controller backwards compatibility. 2. And this is the one that we have all suspected and waited for. The cartridge slot for Switch 2 will support backwards compatibility with existing Switch cards, both physical and digital. However, new game cards designed for the Switch 2 will not be compatible with the original Switch console. And let me stop there for a second, since this point alone more or less confirms our desired Switch games backwards compatibility from the Nintendo Switch to the Nintendo Switch 2. 3. In handheld mode, the new Joy-Con rails will adopt a horizontal magnetic docking structure for smoother attachment. The SL and SR buttons will be metallic and magnetically activated, and apparently there's an additional new button below the home button, hence this video's thumbnail. 4. The Switch 2 will retain a USB-C port for docking, compatible with the new generation of docks, featuring minor design enhancements. 5. The redesigned dock will include a metal damping bracket for improved angle adjustment. 6. The on-dock screen will be upgraded to 1080p Full HD resolution and slightly larger dimensions, that being screen size in inches. The Bilibili post references 8 inches specifically, which fits as previous sources have reported this specifically. No mention of OLED or LCD though, but we will get back to this matter later on in the video. This level of detailed information begs the following question. Which side should we believe? Possible late 2024 or set in stone 2025? Both timing spots tying directly to the future of Nintendo. Previously, an internal push to 2025 has mainly followed the weak Japanese yen, making production more expensive per unit as Nintendo hardware has not been manufactured in Japan for decades. It is just that this argument might not be relevant anymore, seeing that the system is most likely already in production or signed to be in production at a specific price. The second argument used for 2025 is a stronger launch lineup, which is key since you need a number of brand new games, including exclusives, to sell systems in the first few months. We saw how crucial it was in 2017 for the Nintendo Switch. Then you have the possibility of selling a few more Nintendo Switches this holiday season before bringing the Nintendo Switch 2 to consumers. Though this strategy only works if you wait with the reveal of the system to 2025 and avoid any image or video leaks from now until then. With a big chance for the last one, seeing that pretty much all hardware specification details minus weight on the new system have been leaked or reported in the span of less than 8 months since the demo at Gamescom 2023. And this brings us to part 2 of Business Korea's article. Quote, notably, Samsung Electronics Foundry is expected to handle the key processing unit for the Nintendo Switch 2. It is likely that the Tegra T239 chip from Nvidia, manufactured using Samsung's 7LPH process, will be used. High-value added memory will also be manufactured by Samsung Electronics, with the 5th generation VNAND solid-state drive /SSD expected to be incorporated into game cartridges and internal memory. End quote. A lot of technical information that is relevant to Samsung stock owners due to the Korean giant's heavy involvement in Nintendo's new system. Keep in mind that Nintendo switched to Samsung displays beginning with their OLED model in 2021, and the success of this one has likely been crucial to the continued Japanese-Korean cooperation. The Tegra T239 chip with Samsung's tech further solidifies the details we have about DLSS upscaling as reported from several witnesses at Gamescom 2023. And it makes sense when the on-dock display itself will be the maximum resolution of the Nintendo Switch docked. In this case, the Nintendo Switch 2 docked pretty much has to go beyond this, most likely through upscaling of resolutions and frame rates, and naturally where Nvidia's DLSS upscaling comes into play, all to possibly reach upscaled 4K on our 4K TVs. Then we have the matter of VNAND 5th generation SSDs, which naturally aren't the newest version, seeing that Samsung will next year launch its 9th generation. Still, up to 1.4 GB per second reading speeds is more than enough for this system, and a massive leap from the current Switch cartridges and internal memory. Seriously, I don't care if it's LCD or OLED undocked at this point. 1080p is enough to justify the lesser option, and naturally backwards compatibility for our Switch controllers and games. After all, if all this is true, then we're in for the best Nintendo console transition of all time, the deal of a lifetime for longtime Switch owners, or a transition that is equal or even better to what was the case from PS4 to PS5. And it is here where we find the big late 2024 arguments, namely not losing the built-up momentum. If the second half of 2024 is close to empty in terms of new game releases from Nintendo, then there's no reason to drag this out. Since what we're looking at is over 1 year between big new releases, seeing that Super Mario Bros. Wonder came out October 20th in 2023. Investors want updates, as this list of games for 2024 is not close to satisfying. They want hardware news, and preferably before the annual shareholder meeting in the second half of June. From their perspective, if there are no more big brand new first-party games planned for the Switch in 2024, then there's a clear demand to get the next generation out for the holiday season. Software might in the end be the decisive factor as to when we first see and can buy the next system. And Mario Kart has not seen a brand new Nintendo system installment in 10 years come the end of May. Something that irritates investors as they are well aware how much the next system-exclusive Mario Kart can sell, and as a result, give the next system the launch it needs in its first months. 3D Mario can wait until 2025, as we just had Super Mario Bros. Wonder last year, but Mario Kart is a far bigger payday for stockholders, though it depends whether it is ready or not. A lot of concerns, including the number of possible manufactured systems for this holiday, all deciding the scale and impact of this launch, which will see far more consumers aiming to get hold of the system on day one, and definitely by the holidays with a potential late 2024 launch as indicated by Business Korea. If so, will Nintendo even have enough systems to meet the holiday demand? That is the big question. No doubt, with these posts from third parties, the pressure is rising for Nintendo to do something. And the only thing that can rescue them from some really critical stock questions in June is a big first-party direct with games, filling confidently out the second half of 2024. Otherwise, a reveal or at least information on the new system might be the best option to prevent nervous investors and a stock price collapse early this summer. May 8th Japanese time. Update of the sales numbers of the last quarter of the previous fiscal year is the nearest opportunity for Nintendo to give us a codename and a confirmation that the next system is coming in this new/current fiscal year. That is right, we're now in the fiscal year the Switch 2 is aimed to release. At the same time, an update like this is probably the best we can hope for from Nintendo, since they will probably not point to a 2024 release, even if this might be the plan again, as hinted by Business Korea. But what do you think? Does this new information, likely detailing so much of the next-gen Nintendo system, point to a release this year or next year? Sound off in the comment section down below. If you haven't already, then be sure to leave a like, subscribe and press notification bell as it makes the video more visible and helps the channel. Last but not least, a big thanks to you for watching and all patreon.com/Kameraon patrons for the continued financial support. Special shoutouts go to royal producers Zach Johnson and JC Funk, and heroes Holly Wolf, Cheryl and Garrett Hoy. You rock, and please enjoy one or both of these two awesome videos.